just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Packer Up, boys. Brought to you by Aussie Footy Shorts. That's right. Head to Aussie Footy Shorts Instagram or footy-aussie on your website. So Aussie Footy Shorts, you put them in Google, you'll be able to find them. We got a limited edition bloke Aussie Footy Shorts. They are footy shorts with pockets. Limited edition bloke Aussie Footy Shorts. But if you want other ones, they got plenty other designs and they've done heaps of collaborations. Trust me, head to their website. It's an incredible setup, and it's a bloke just like me. He started from nothing. They're the best footy shorts in the business. But I'm here with my main man, Sandor. How you going, brother?
Good, brother, good. Hey, you mentioned it before. I was just thinking, Packer Up on a Friday. We're always talking about a little bit of gratitude. And if you think you've had a stressful week or things are a little bit down or you're in pain, do yourself a favour. Head to Instagram and have a look at what the madman Nedd Brockmann is doing. Honestly, right? It's ridiculous. I can't fathom. He's got his ankles taped, his shoulder taped, his nipples taped. He's got blisters the size of a coaster under your favourite bloke beer. Like, mate, it's insane. I just don't actually know how he's achieved. What is he at 1,000 kilometres?
Yeah, so
he just hit it,
7 hours. He just hit 7 hours. 7 days and 10 hours or something like that. He hit 1,000 kilometres just doing laps around it. If you're
looking for a little bit of motivation, look no further.
Oh, mate, incredible.
Can't believe it.
It is seriously like the mental fortitude to be able to wake up and continue doing that day in, day out. It's incredible.
I've said it a couple of times in the gym this week, and it's just like, it's a little reminder to yourself. You go to maybe complain or about someone, it's like, shut up.
Yeah, shut up. Absolutely.
I did the exact same thing this morning. I was on the bike and my legs were about to fall off, and I actually did think of that. I'm like, man, imagine what Ned's feeling like. I can't even comprehend, and I'll never be able to. It's crazy. And have you tuned into his TikTok and the whole thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's not an easy watch because he's in so much pain and he's just going. It's insane.
And I don't know where he's at now, but during that first phase of the journey, he was having a couple of hours sleep, getting up and and then he walks and he slowly gets into a trot, and obviously the body starts moving. It's like,
yeah. It's like you look at him in that first hour and you're like, well, he's done, for the day. He may as well have the day off. And then you look back 2 hours later and he's fully in a trot. And you're just like, mate, it just shows you how strong the human mind is.
And you're running around the same track.
That's the hardest part. Surely that's the hardest part. I reckon I'd love to speak to him after it and ask him, is it the fact you had to go over the same spot over and over? Is that the hardest part? Because that would just do your head in. Think about how much he'll have trauma from that track. He won't want to go back there ever again. Because
at least with the Australian run, and I'm not by any means saying this was easy at all. I'm sure it's the same shit the whole way, but at least there's a finish line. You can mentally see that you're going somewhere.
But also
going around and around and around. That's crazy.
Also there's almost a natural human instinct of you're traveling across land. It's your body. You've done your ancestors have done that for generations. Granted, they didn't run as much as he did, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. There's a natural kind of vibe to it, moving across land.
And you're going like this destination, point A to B,
100%.
Constant change of scenery.
Different people you speak to,
The convenience is a huge factor, obviously, having a full camp set up just there, and it's just non-stop support. But I don't know. I think it would suck. Like you said, I'd love to hear him reflect on the track, but there is something about just the same path and just knuckling down. And he'd have so many little things that he's like, what am I looking at? What am I focused on just to get him to the next lap, the next lap? It's insane.
Holy heckers. Holy heckers.
I read his book last year. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend. I just listened to it on audiobook. It just kind of goes through the Australian run. It's just wild, some of the stuff that he says. So
it's gonna be
highly recommend.
Crack at listen to him,
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Alrighty, Grumpy Coffee. Packer Up, boys, is brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Head to grumpycoffee.com.au, grab the beautiful coffee. Now, also, if there's any issues with your order, head to our website. We've got to contact us. Please email us so that we can sort it out. As you guys know, the launch was way, way bigger than we ever expected. So we are just doing our best to keep up with everything. So if there's any issues, please don't hesitate to email. We've got a guy on there 24/7 that's answering emails to make sure everything's sorted. Obviously, we sold out of the capsules, so we're trying to get more of that in. But any dramas, whether we will take care of it. Whether it's we send you your stuff and you can get the refund, and whatever we can do to make it work, we will do it. So don't feel like don't be too afraid to email anything in regards to your order. So head to our website. You go to contact us and you just put it in, whether you're waiting for it and you're not sure where it is, or whether it's a mix-up, whatever it is, damage to the order. That's always good, because what we can do is, if there's damage to the order, we can go to our service that we send thing and show them, like, this isn't good enough, this needs to be better. All of those little things, they help us. So, but yeah, thousands of people have gotten their orders so far. Thank you so much, guys. It's been like genuinely blown away, just genuinely blown away. And the feedback on the quality of the coffee, like every nice one I get, I screenshot it and I heart it so that I can always go back into favorites and just read it. Now, I reckon I've got at least 30 or 40 of them already. So thank you so much, everyone. Now, also, Grumpy Coffee, we would like to put coffee on for your PT session, or if you've got a run club, something that is a big group of people on the weekend where we can come down and put some coffee on for you. We would love to, whether it's in the morning, the afternoon, whatever. Email matt@blokeinabar.com. And we would, if we can get down to you to be able to put coffee on, and also, like, not only just put coffee on for you, do some content, ask you some questions, what makes you grumpy. We would love to do that. So if you would love myself and, I don't know, some of the other boys to come down, put coffee on for you, email matt@blokeinabar.com, and we would love to do that. Boys, how you been, bro? How's the week been?
Yeah, been good, brother. Coming off a big weekend of sport and a long weekend as well. It was nice to... I had to pack her up on Monday as well, so it was nice just to relax.
Yep.
But, it's been a good week. Just... so good last weekend. Had a big barbie, got in front. I had the UFC, had the footy on, and it was just cracking.
Right,
week.
Pereira.
Oh, unbelievable.
What are we talking about here?
There's levels,
bro? What are we talking about here? He's
getting better.
He just, like, the answer to beat him is apparently obvious. No one can, except, like, I know Izzy beat him once, but, like, that's really it. That's really it. It is incredible what's doing, and he's doing it in a weight up as well. Like, I know he outgrew the weight down, even though he's actually starting to talk that he might go back down.
Yeah.
But mate, he is just that the toughness of Roundtree to cop what he copped is just. Roundtree reckons his jab is unbelievable.
I've seen that interview. It's just, and once the jab started hitting, it was like...
He said it's the heaviest jab ever. Like, it's just jamming you... Oh, man, anyway.
And the difference, we've seen a slightly different style with Pereira because he was obviously versing a southpaw. So the jab, the right hand, we didn't see much of the hook this time.
Yep.
But it's just, he does that little hop, that two-step hop, and he's just this 6'5" human chasing you down the whole time. I was just like, fuck. But my thing is, I keep saying this to everyone I'm talking about, there's a lot more method to the madness.
Yeah.
This has gone so much further than just this big puncher.
Yeah.
He's just so technical. And I thought his head movement was unbelievable. That's what I mean. I just think he's leveled up so much.
His ability to stand within range, but just like pour, like
Just parry the punches.
and he just like, he's so calm.
Yeah.
And he'll just move his head back, and you'll see it'll just miss, and he'll just parry. Like, imagine how much that would stress you out as a fighter, because usually you're either in or you're out. Like, that's the, for a very basic fighter or boxer or MMA, they always tell you you're either in or you're out. If you're in, you're striking. If you're out, you're obviously not. Whereas he's always in. He's always, not necessarily in the pocket, but he's always within range to be able to be touched.
Yep.
Which is like, it's almost like the biggest no-no. Now, obviously at his level, it's a yes because he's so good. But imagine how much that would stress you out as a fighter, that this guy is always within striking distance of me. Like, you would almost burn half your energy of anxiety because he just won't release that pressure.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of fighters, like, that's what, you might go, okay, this fighter was really, he went 5 rounds in this fight, he looked fit as anything, and then this fight, he was gassed by round 3. It's a lot of it is because of pressure. And it's because he might be fighting a certain guy that just refuses to allow him to disengage, reset. And that's what Pereira does. He just refuses to disengage.
There's nothing worse than that as well. Reflecting on my 1-0 boxing career against Justin Hodges. But I remember when I was training, the guy didn't even punch you, but constantly stalking you. You're tired.
Yeah.
You're ruined.
And it's just
can't catch
until
a break.
you've felt it, like in a sparring session, you actually don't know. Like, you can look at it and be like, what do you mean it makes you stressed out? Like, you're just standing there. But when you're in there and you feel that pressure, you're constantly like, just give us a second here. But Yeah, so he's the king of
And
that.
for him to break that record of, three title defenses in some ridiculous, basically half a year is insane. The kickboxers are just built different, mate. They've had fights where they rock up to stadiums at the death, late as hell. They've had 300 fights. Like, he'd be so calm in the ring.
It's interesting how kickboxers and Muay Thai fighters, like, they can fight like 20 times a year.
All they do.
And I just like, how do they get through that with such an aggressive, like, damaging sport without falling apart? Is it because there's less rounds? Is that why you reckon?
Yeah.
Because it's usually 5 rounds, is it? Whereas obviously boxing is 12.
Yeah.
Is it the fact that, you can go out there, you can actually only be fighting for like 20 minutes? Maybe.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. But yeah, for people that don't really know combat sport, Muay Thai fighters and kickboxers can literally fight like literally 20 times a year.
Yeah, your big Muay Thai fighters, they've got 300 plus pro records.
Mental. Like John Wayne Parr.
Crazy.
I need to write it down to say it every single week so everyone watches it. Blessed with Venom, I think it's called. It's his documentary. It is one of the most hectic documentaries I've ever watched. One of the best sporting documentaries ever. Like, obviously, is it high budget? No. But it's on YouTube. It's free. And put it this way. It would be like okay, let's go back to a time when Brazil was the best soccer nation in the world. It would be like a young kid going over Brazil with nothing and becoming the best Brazilian soccer player the best soccer player in the world. That's essentially what John Wayne Parr did. Like, in a country he didn't know the language, they all would have just disparaged him because he was a white Australian, and of course most of those that come around, they're tourists, they're not real. And also, he used to sleep on like bamboo floors and that, and have to like shit in that on like in a hole in the ground. Like, we're not talking about he went over to an academy and had all this mad food and that.
Performance centers.
No, he's literally sleeping on the ground over in a foreign country in the 1990s maybe. Like, again, we're not talking about 2010. We're talking about the 1990s. So no internet, no way to call back home. Just, it's an incredible story. Matty, how's your week been, mate?
I'm good. You know that old saying, you don't know what you've got till you've lost it? Yes. Well, I've got my voice back after 2 weeks of like literally not having it since I stepped off the plane, which was the most frustrating 2 weeks of my life. But when I woke up yesterday and I like just spoke to which I've done every morning, I like test it out and I got it back. I'm so happy. Like,
what's funny is it still is a bit. It's still not 100%.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect. It took
Greece 1-0,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It took a round of antibiotics to get rid of it, which is crazy. But
wow,
annoying. But I know we're here now.
There you go. Well, no one asked, but my week it's been a living hell, and I've been fighting with myself on this because I don't know where I stand on it. Because, okay, I sent my son to daycare.
Yeah.
And it's only been 4 times. And I was expecting a few head colds, little colds and here and there, like, for sure. Like, of course it's going to happen. Bro, in the first 4 days he's there, he gets one of the most hectic viral infections I've ever seen. He's like wheezing. Oh, he's like, he can barely breathe through his nose. Like, we're not talking little head cold. And like, so I'm torn because part of me is, I feel like someone out there has sent their kid to daycare so, like, not just a little crook with a little head cold and little, like, so sick. We're talking like influenza, and it's given to my little boy, which makes me furious. Now, granted, I understand that there could have been someone that sent their kid there not knowing that they were infectious, because usually the infectious stage is before the symptoms happen. So that could have happened. But I'm also like furious that someone, and look, I don't know where I stand on it, because I feel guilty then, because I'm like, it's so hard being a parent. It's so stressful. Everyone's just trying to get through it. They might have had to go to work, so they're just like, I can't afford to stay home with my kid because I need to get to work. So they just drop them off at daycare. So I'm just like torn, watching my baby suffer, but also trying to empathize with the mother or father that dropped the sick kid off. And I don't know how to square it away. And I'm genuinely lying in bed last night, like trying to empathize with the people that have it tough, need to get to work. But just watching my little boy just be so crook, it has been actual torture. Torture.
I actually didn't know until Tom brought it up. every week that daycares are just like rife with sickness.
Well, like, look, as I said, like, if you didn't know, that's one thing, because they can be infectious without any symptoms. But like, if you're sending your kid to daycare, fucking crook as.
Surely the daycare has a responsibility.
Yeah, but they don't, like, you can't really tell. Like, it could just be a little head cold, which is fine. Because the thing is like, part of you want your kid to be there because it builds an natural immune system. Like, if you pull your kid out of daycare and he never goes, then like, it's going to have the worst immune system ever. And so, as I said, I don't know, like, part of me is like, how dare you? But the other part of me is like, being a parent is so hard. So like, why judge? You know, don't judge what someone else might be going through. And also, it's unfair for me to judge because like, I'm so lucky to be able to have a little bit of freedom to be able to do that. Like, if I want to say to my wife, okay, don't send the kid, you stay home with the kid, I've been privileged enough to be able to do that. Whereas most families don't have that luxury. So it's wrong of me to judge because I have that luxury. However, when you're watching your kid wheezing and crying and all that shit, it's very hard to be empathetic when you're just like, fuck. So yeah, it's been a tough week on the little fella. Jesus, man. Have you ever it's one thing like seeing your partner sick and feeling sorry or whatever, seeing your kid sick, holy shit, it's the worst. It's the worst. So yeah, went to the doctor. He's all good now. He's past his infectious stage, which is good. But yeah, he's been struggling. So I don't know where I land. Like
I think both can be correct.
Look, put it this way. What I do know for sure, if your kid is extremely sick, like influenza shit, and you know it, and you send your kid to daycare, it's a shit go. Because whatever you're going through, you have just now put your problems onto everyone else. Because it isn't just one kid that's going to get sick. Every kid gets sick. And guess what? Every kid's parents get sick. And their family gets sick. But again, I don't know whether they knew, you know, like maybe they didn't know that they were sick and it was in that infectious stage they didn't know. But the problem is there are some parents that just go, fuck it, and just drop it off. And I get it. You're stressed. You got work to go to. I totally understand. But you're putting your problems on everyone else. Like now everyone else has to deal with it. At the very least, take the kid to the doctor. See if he's still or she's in the infectious stage. If the doctor says no, past the infectious stage, then you can leave the kid at daycare. But yeah, I was expecting over a month or two to get a couple head colds. He's been there 2 weeks.
Jesus.
And he
really
got rocked by influenza. Not just a head cold, completely rocked by it. Like full on phlegm, you can hear him breathing, everything. Crazy.
Jeez, that's rough. That's rough as, but it's weird because like I want to say, if your kid's that sick, just find a way.
But you just don't know what people are going through.
Who am I to say that?
Yeah, you just don't know what people are going through, so it's very hard to say that. But as I said, I'm not sitting here pretending like I didn't expect sickness from daycare. Yeah. It's only natural. It's actually good for the kids because they build immunity. You'd rather that. I just didn't expect the fucking like full-on influenza, hectic, week-long battle with his sickness.
It's rough and seeing your kid in pain. There's an opportunity though. Sit him down on the lap. Chuck Brockmann on TikTok and just let him chip away.
See, mate, just tell your son to harden up, mate. I know you got a bit sick, but harden up, mate. But he's good. He's all right. Like he cries a little bit before bed, but then once he gets up and he's smiling and that, he's fine.
Does he talk?
He just gobbles, like just like he can kind of say dad, kind of say mum, but he really just like blah 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 blah. Like this morning, I was in the shower and he's learnt to, when he wakes up and he starts running around the house, he's learned to open the sliding door. And so you just see his face like this, and then he opens all the way and he runs in, he's like just jumping around in the morning while you're in the shower. I'm like, get out of here, son.
It's crazy how quick they grow. Like I remember I saw him probably started this year in February for a photo shoot with Guru. Then I was at your house a couple of weeks ago and he was like double the size, running around. Yeah,
they grow so
like,
quick.
Not running around, but
so
like
quick.
walking around.
NRL season is done and dusted, and the Pacific Championship is here. And you know what I like about Pacific Championship this year is obviously I would love Samoa to be in it, but this year we have Tonga. And who remembers the iconic moment of Tonga defeating Australia in, I think it was 2018 or 19, that literally turned the international game on its head? Well, Suncorp Stadium will host a double header this Friday night where the Jillaroos take on PNG before the Kangaroos play Tonga. This is the first time the Kangaroos and Tonga play each other since Tonga upset them in 2019. Tickets are available now, starting at just $25 and adults and $50 for a family pass. Visit nrl.com/tickets to secure your seats. And I'm telling you guys, if you want the NRL to expand into international games, this is how we do it. We get around the Pacific Championships. And who knows, because honestly, the Tongan forward pack on paper, I would argue, is better than the Australian forward pack. If it's not better, it's just as good. The Tongan forward pack is, arguably, it's the best forward pack of the entire Pacific Championship. That's how good it is. They've got young Isaiah Katoa to lead them around as well. Australia have a few injuries. Like, genuinely, anything could happen. So make sure to get down to the game. Tickets available now, starting at just $25 for adults, $50 for families. Visit nrl.com/tickets to secure your seats and watch what could be another historic night. I'll tell you what, Mal Meninga, he's all about culture, and he'll be showing them clips of the last time they lost to Tonga, because although we all sat back and said, yeah, it's really good for the international game that Tonga beat Australia, as an Australian, like, that's not good enough. We shouldn't have been beaten. We had a better side on paper. We didn't turn up. And I think Mal Meninga will be able to right some wrongs. So make sure to be there. $25 for adults, $50 for family. You're kidding. Can't wait to watch the Pacific Championships. Gutho, the Eels have reportedly told Gutherson they are not in a position to offer him a contract beyond 2025 at this stage. Brought to you by Sportsbet, obviously, guys. Give us a follow on the feed. We've got some huge plans, racing coming up. I'm going to have to go in. I'm going into a competition with Dan Orange.
How good.
Yeah, Dan Orange. And basically, whoever loses tips has to enter some fashion show or whatever, and they get dressed by the opposing fans, people. But, like, I'm definitely going to lose because I don't know anything about racing, and I don't care enough to be like, I'm going to study to win. Like, who gives a shit? But anyway, yeah, so make sure to give us a follow on the feed on Sportsbet. I've got a bunch of my selections with horse racing on there.
So wait, if you lose, it's his fans that get to...
Yeah, but it's just like Tarakash stuff. And
okay,
trust me, there are parameters.
Oh, right.
There are parameters,
I was
yeah.
thinking, let's get the Nepo in a dress.
Yeah, no. I said to him, none of that. I literally, it's funny you say that. I said, guys, just so you know, I'm never wearing a dress ever. And they were like, no, it's not that at all. So that was literally the first thing I said. I said, it's not happening. And they were like, no, that's not what we do. It's more just like fun Tarakash stuff. And I was like, good, because you're never going to see me like that in a fashion show.
It can be in a matte white suit, I reckon.
Okay, so Gutho basically told to look elsewhere.
Rough, eh?
Isn't it interesting how, like, they try to position things? Like, so a couple of weeks ago, literally quoted, Gutho's in our plans.
Oh, it's
like,
ugly.
Big part of the club. Couple of weeks later, now they're trying to position it of, because we can't offer him an extension, that's why we're granting him permission to speak to other clubs. Like, more like you just don't want him at the club.
But they think we're stupid.
Yeah. Like, and also, look, I understand that every now and then comes a time where a player is selfish. I get it. But next time you want to put shit on a player, look what they've just done to Gutho. That bloke has broken his... Whether you like Gutho or not, I don't know why you wouldn't. I love him. He's such a good bloke. But he has broken his body for that club. And you can't tell me there's been a single game where he hasn't given everything he's got for that club.
I just want to point out, so it's for 2026. November 1 is like 2 or 3 weeks away, right? So there is no reason for them... He was able to talk to clubs in 3 weeks. So there's no reason for them to go to a journo, release all this, put it out in the headlines. There's absolutely no reason for it. He can go talk to clubs in 3 weeks. So it's so obviously a tactic.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obvious.
It's so obvious.
And
It's
they
like,
always want to control the narrative.
they always got like, we're being so generous by allowing him to speak to other clubs. He already can.
Yeah.
He already can. He doesn't have a contract for 2026. Like, what are you talking about? It just... This is a guy that has broken his body for the club. Look how he's being treated. So I get it. Every now and then there are players that take the piss, but I'm telling you, 90% of them, next time you want to get upset about a player, just remember how Gutho's been treated here.
It's just a shame. Fresh start for Parramatta. Like, kick things off the right way. There's a culture shift that needs to happen, and then it's like, here's where we're at.
But like,
And with Gutho being...
Yeah, but do it behind the scenes then. Why release it to the public? Why
They
not
want to have that first moment. They want to have the first
control the
voice.
narrative in that. Why not go to Gutho and just do it all behind the scenes, sit down with him, all amicable, and then manage it and show him the respect he deserves.
Like, he's their captain. As you said, what he's put his whole body through, it's for, like, it's been on show for years how broken he is and how he still rips in every week.
And I don't want to speak out of turn. You'd love to think that they've had a conversation prior to this, but the reality is they probably haven't.
You'd hope.
Oh.
You know what I think is probably, like, again, this is pure speculation. I don't know for sure. But I reckon they thought they'd go to him, oh, mate, we're going to play you in the 13. And they thought that he was going to go, nah, that's not happening. And I reckon Gutho said, yeah, whatever you need for the team. And they've gone, oh, shit.
Wow.
Which he would, because he said it to you last week at the golf day.
Because I know Gutho. Gutho would do any... People that were like, oh,
He's
Gutho wouldn't... He's a clubman. People that go, oh, Gutho wouldn't move from fullback for the team. I'm telling you right now, if you ask Gutho to play front row, he would do it for the team. I promise you. Like, I know that, you know...
Speaks volumes.
Whether you find him polarising because he's always in the ref's face and he's a high competitor, I get it. Trust me, if you sat down and had a beer with Gutho, you would like him as a bloke. At the very least, you would walk away going, you know what? Like, I think I may have got the wrong impression of Gutho.
You know, I'll admit, probably 5 or 6 years ago now, I was kind of all aboard the train. Oh, I'm a bit over Gutho, like blowing up to the ref and that. And my mate actually said to me, he's like, what do you got to hate about him? He's all ticker. That's all he said. And it completely changed for me. Yeah. And then I started loving him. Yeah. Like, that's all he is. He's all ticker.
And he cares. Like, we always get up players for not caring.
Yeah.
And yet when they... Look, I get it. Sometimes you can be like, mate, like, you're in the ref's face and blah, blah, blah. I understand it. I'm not sitting here pretending like I don't understand why opposition fans could get frustrated with him, because...
Oh, yeah, it's annoying.
You're the opposition. So obviously you're going to start looking at the opposition negatively. But anyway, that all aside, I pure speculation, but I reckon they thought, you know what, we'll tell Gutho he's got to play 13. And they thought Gutho will say, mate, I'm out of here. Like, the disrespect, blah, blah. And I reckon Gutho's gone, yep, whatever you want. And they've gone, oh, fuck. Shit, how do we handle this? You know what? We'll tell everyone he's free to speak to everyone else, even though he's already free in 3 weeks to speak to everyone else. Anyway.
So sorry for their fans too. Like, certainly the ones I speak to absolutely love him. Oh. And he's going to be gone next year, surely.
This is where I kind of just feel like honesty would work better. Like, this is where I feel like if you said, if I was a head coach, and look, I'm not a head coach and I don't know all the going, you know, I don't know how hard it is to be a head coach, but if I was a head coach, I'd come in and say, guys, Gutho is a legend of the club and I respect everything he's done. I just feel the direction I want to take, it's with someone else. I feel fans would understand it. Like, there would be fans, obviously, that would be like, I disagree or whatever, but I think they'd appreciate the honesty. I really do.
But I feel like anyone would understand that. If you take that honest communication perspective with anyone, yeah, okay, people aren't going to like it. And if you are empathetic, you never want to hurt someone's feelings. And it is pretty damaging for a player like Gutho to have to hear it. But you're going to be respected. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's going to, like, I would much rather appreciate an honest conversation, even something that I didn't want to hear. Yeah. And this isn't just footy. This translates anywhere. But it's just, it doesn't happen. Yeah. In our setting, rugby league, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And that's why I think, I've said this forever now, I think fans they get treated like they're not that smart.
Yeah, you said that, yeah.
They're not getting fooled these days.
Yeah, like these days is different. Like back in the day when they had way less information and all they had was just newspapers to go by. So whatever narrative was put out, footy fans are way smarter than that. I'd be very shocked if there weren't a lot of Eels fans out there if you went out and said, guys, I'm the new head coach. I'm heading in a different direction. I love what Gutho's done for the club. I reckon there would be most of the fans would go, listen, I disagree with you, but I appreciate and respect your decision. Let's see what happens. And if you get it right, I'll be back 100. I'm happy to say I got it wrong. If you get it wrong, then I'll say, you know, we should have kept him.
In terms of, you know, we talk about Australian culture, the one that always pops up from a negative perspective is tall poppy syndrome. Yeah. But I've always thought, and I'll tell you why I reflect on this. It's not strategic, but I genuinely thought this was my best path. When I got suspended, I knew in that moment that I've got two choices to make. And I knew that Australian public, this was my perspective, that they actually just appreciated you just being honest, take ownership, regardless of your opinion, and just fucking own it and move forward. The respect I gained from doing that, the opposite would have been throw my hands in the air, carry on, blah, blah, blah. But I knew that that was the path that's going to be respected. I genuinely think we do have that in Australian culture, as well as like a bit of appreciation for the underdog. But mate, if a coach come out and was just raw and honest with all these decisions, all of these things, there would be the most respected person in rugby league.
Yeah.
It's literally that simple.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think that because even in your situation, they could have had reason to go, well, hang on a sec, this happened and I was lied to here and I was used here, but you were just like, put my hand up, did it.
Where's it going to get me?
And so, I think, look, maybe we're talking out of turn here because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors at clubs and we don't have the experience. I just know if my coach said that, like if the coach of the club that I go for came out and said, guys, he's just not in my plans as a coach. He's a bloody good player, but I'm going in a different direction. I'd be like, I disagree. However, damn, I respect the honesty. I'm glad, you know what? I'm glad you said the same thing to the player, the fans. So anyway, is what it is. Now, Gutho will pick up another club, which is good.
Yep.
Now he's in talk. Basically, Dragons have been the front runners. They're prepared to pay a big chunk of his contract to get him immediately. Mate, him at the Dragons at fullback, him, Cook, and Holmes, that's a bloody good off-season recruitment. And I know they're a little bit older, but they still got some good footy in them. They've still got some good footy in them.
And that's what I think they need.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. That's perfect for him.
Experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to see him at the Dragons. I'm just trying to think of other teams he could land at. Yeah, I think the Dragons suit him perfectly, to be honest. Trying to think, maybe Bulldogs? Maybe. I mean, they got a lot of good young guys coming through. Connor Tracy was so good this year.
Same situation. They got a lot of young coming through, but Cronulla could use him.
Sharkies. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I don't mind that. Him and Hines and Trindle in the halves. I don't mind. I feel sorry for Kennedy, but
of course,
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon Dragons would be the best fit. I really do. He suits what kind of player Flano wants, which is like just a tough, gritty, goes all day, sets good standards. But yeah, Gutho he'll land at the right spot, and you know, he's earned so much goodwill in the game. I think there's a lot of clubs that will want him for sure.
Even what we referred to, his character, like for everything that you hate about it being the opposition or a fan, you'd do anything to have a guy with that competitive nature at your club.
Well, that's what got him an Origin spot. I remember he was 18th man over in Perth, and Freddie, after the camp, was just like, he's the best 18th man I've ever seen in my life. He's just so willing to do anything. And the next year, he debuted.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's so good. Don't forget, guys, this week's hungriest player is Liam Martin. Use code CLIVE, CLIVE, for $7 off Mexican this week. Minimum order is $20. And also, Good Day, begoodhealth.com.au. Good Day multivitamin, guys. I have been using this for the day it came out all the way up until we started promoting it. So, like, I've used this product long before we brought it on board to promote it. It is outstanding. It's the best multivitamin I've ever had. It's super easy. All you do is subscribe. You use code BLOKE for 20% off. And basically, you get your 30 sachets or whatever it is. You might get down to your last 5 or whatever. Boom, there's a knock at the door. The next 30 have already arrived. You never even have to think about it again. Never again. It's super easy. It's super good for you. And also super convenient.
It's got you through the daycare influenza too.
Absolutely. I mean, my son's been
testimonial.
struggling. Like, my son's been struggling, and I haven't missed a day of work all week. So that just shows you firsthand how good they are. And also, when I was like worried about it, I went straight to the Good Day and started smashing it. So, yeah, head to begoodhealth.com.au, and obviously, it's our great friend Tom and Eddie's brand. Get around the boys. Sean Johnson, Jerome Hughes is ruled out of the Pacific Championship with a neck injury. A few hours later, the news dropped that Sean Johnson was willing to return and put on the Kiwi jersey for a final time. Wow, wee woo. This is rugby league.
It's a fairy tale.
Oh my God. Because when Humes dropped out, I was going, geez, this is not looking good for the Kiwis. Like, this might be tough. Now, it still might be tough because the roster compared to last year's roster, I don't think it's anywhere as close, as good as last year's. However, SJ, one more dance, baby. One more dance.
Good.
It's just the best, isn't it?
Yeah. Shout out Play On Sport, new podcast, SJ. One of the best in the biz, baby.
Yeah, loving watching him break down the footy too.
Yeah, he loves it.
I was watching one.
Doesn't
I watched
work.
one
I
this
tell
morning.
you what, I knew I was onto something when we were breaking down the Alamotti play on our Monday review, and then we saw him break it down, and I was like, see, we're basically just like SJ, baby. We're basically just like SJ. You know, matter of fact, actually, SJ was copying our homework.
You're in the wrong position, bros.
But But yeah, make sure to give a Play On, I think it's Play On Sport, a follow on Instagram. Oh, you know what? I'll get it up right now, but I'm pretty sure it is Play On.
He's good, isn't he? Like, he just gets it as well.
Yeah.
Good speaker too.
Good speaker. He just, he's the full package.
Play On
SJ.
Sports Show. So yeah, go to their links in their show notes and subscribe to them on Apple and Spotify. And yeah, you can have all the sport knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to communicate it, it means nothing. Whereas SJ, eloquent, can speak, really good delivery.
I love the breakdown of that play. It was cool.
That was sick.
Just to see the moment leading up to it. That used to be, Storm used to run that with Juzzy Olam and Kenny Bromwich. But a great play. I just love the fact that, you know, they'd run it the weeks before with 2 different outcomes, and then, you know, to think that they set this up just for that with the video review and the whole narrative around, I was just like, that's fucking
It's just mad.
So
it's just like, it's awesome to watch.
So yeah, he's back. I mean, I can't wait. Like, this is exactly the shot in the arm that the Pacific Championship needed. Because SJ, if he comes out and starts weaving a bit of magic, he'll bring bums on seats and people will be watching. And who knows? Could you imagine a grand final in the Pacific Championships of SJ v Mitchell Moses or Dearden? That'd be good. That'd be good.
He's gonna, like, just by himself, he's probably put a few thousand more people in those stadiums.
Yeah, for sure. I think also, like, these last couple of years, like, imagine how different a world we'd be living in if SJ retired at the end of his Shark stint.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, like, when you actually think about it, not that much has been added to his resume. When, like, okay, what, a prelim? But because he's had a second opportunity just to re-show people who he is as a person, it has recontextualized his whole career. Imagine how people would remember him if he just quit when the Sharkies thing
would have
happened.
been Travis.
Yeah, because he did his Achilles. If he just caught it then.
He would just be known as the superstar that was like all this natural ability and had a really good start to his career. But now he's one of the most beloved Kiwi players ever.
And he basically had 2 careers. Like, the player he was in 2011, well, it's completely different to what he was last year.
And it just shows you, like, you know, if you hang in there, you do the tough stuff, you don't quit too soon, you can completely change your whole career's framing. Like, he is one of the most beloved Kiwi players ever. And only a few years ago, it was like, oh yeah, heaps of talent, but, you know, never really hit the heights again that he did earlier in his career. So yeah, can't wait to see SJ back out there. Really good guy too. I'll never forget when he came on the podcast a few years ago. Just a real, like, sometimes when you get a superstar in, because there's levels. There is levels to players in the NRL. Sometimes when you get a superstar in, you can kind of be like, this might be a bit. They're never dicks, but they move like a superstar. Man, he doesn't move like a superstar at all. He's really inquisitive.
Man, people, eh?
Really, like, asking you all the questions and wants to know this and wants to know that.
I was pretty stoked when he came in. I was so starstruck.
He's a legend. Legend. So, he will kill it in media. Got the looks, got the ability to basically transfer his knowledge into words. He'll kill it.
He's already got the love of basically 2 countries.
Yeah, and he's one of the biggest stars in rugby league history, so he'll kill it. Absolutely kill it. Alrighty, Samoa. Coach Ben Gardner's Samoan team reportedly had 13 big names availabilities, and it's believed that one of those players is Payne Haas. Jeremiah Nanai is one of the players that made the decision, as did Murray Talangi. And the coach was quoted, when you bring a RTS into your side, you bring one of the best players from both codes into your team. So for him to want to represent Samoa this year and moving forward, there are some other players who aren't available for our tour and other players who were able to jump ship. Gardner, Jeremiah was one of those. I said to Jeremiah that Roger was playing, and he said, well, I'm definitely playing too. I am hearing whispers that there are like some of the biggest names in rugby league that might be lining up for Samoa next time they can.
Wild.
And look, maybe I'm Inspector Gadget. I don't know. Reading into things too much. But the great Payne Haas did share the Samoan team selection in his story on Instagram. And I don't know whether he shared the Australian one. I don't know whether he did. What I do remember is he shared the Samoan one. I think we might see him in a Samoan jersey for too long.
I want to see it. I really do.
Like,
I wanna
you know
see him
what's funny? It's like always, there's some people that was like, oh yeah, it's easy for you to like for example, like Kiwis, when the Samoan Kiwi players go to Samoa, if there's Kiwis be like, yeah, it's easy for you to say. You wouldn't be saying this if one of your players went to Samoa or Tonga. oi, bruh, I only want players that want to play for Australia the most out of any country playing for Australia. If you even think for a second about playing for another country, not for a second, but if you for a second feel there is another country more important to you than Australia, play for that country. Because I only want people in the green and gold who Australia is number one. And that's no diss on anyone, like not at all. It's just if your heart is with the Samoan jersey, I would rather see you playing for where your heart is, not where your head is, where your heart is. So I have no issue with any player that currently plays for Australia if their heart is with Tonga, Samoa, whoever it is.
Because to state the obvious, if your heart's in it, you're going to care more. And we saw what Tonga did a few years ago when all those players want to play for Tonga. We saw Samoa on the way to the World Cup. But it just makes the spectacle better.
Yeah, but not even from that. From my love for Australia, how much I care about Australia, I want people in the jersey that love the country the way I love the country. And it's not suggesting that, if you decide to play for Samoa and Tonga, you don't love Australia, but you don't love it as much as me because it's my only country. I love it more than anything in the world. And so I want blokes in there that would choose Australia over everything. Yeah. And I've got no issue with blokes that want to play for Samoa. It's great for the game, and I'd way rather them feel more comfortable and proud in that jersey. I've got no issue with it whatsoever.
I agree with what you said about having the passion to play in an Australian jersey. What I do like is the fact that if people are transitioning to play for Samoa, there's no longer that weight of the Australian jersey is a true marker of success.
Yep.
There's so much, it's on such a pedestal. And yes, we know that there's some financial things around it, but playing for the Australian jersey is the pinnacle of rugby league. But now, if we can move forward with players reaching the peak, reaching success, but they're still playing for their international country, and that is preferred, and that's what they want to do. I love that the decision has gone away from just wanting to play for the Australian jersey because that's seen as the peak and success in everyone else's eyes.
Yep.
So I think it's a good direction, but I agree with you. I'd love for us to have the same ability to be patriotic around the Australian jersey as any other country is.
Absolutely. There's nothing like we should be just as proud to be Australian as anyone is to be Samoan, Tongan, whatever it is. Basically, this is the way I would love it to work. Every player gets to pick who they would pick without any financial pressure of the situation. That's the perfect
dream.
world. That's the dream where you're basically going, everyone is essentially, like, let's just say everyone's getting paid $0. Who would you play for? And if they say, well, I would play for Samoa then that's where your heart is. That's where you should go. I want people in that scenario that say, my heart's with Australia. That's what I want people representing my country. And as I said, it doesn't mean if you choose Samoa or Tonga, it doesn't mean you don't love this country, but it's just a different kind of love to me because this is all I got. This is my only country. So yeah, I have no issue whatsoever. And if they end up, Samoa or Tonga end up beating us, I tell you what, when Tonga beat Australia in 2019, I was obviously upset that we lost as a country, but I was stoked for the game.
It was epic, yeah.
It was hectic. It was the closest thing to feeling like winning whilst losing.
Rugby League won.
100%.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So if we get to a point where it's no longer just Australia versus New Zealand, everyone wins. We get blokes in the Australian jersey that's their live and breathe. We get blokes in Samoan jersey that's their live and breathe, and we all get better footy for it. Win for everyone. So yeah, I can't wait. Could you imagine? Let's say Haas goes, Nanai goes, Tino goes. I haven't heard anything much about Tino, but I don't know. I reckon there'd be.
Well, it's going to be.
I reckon there'd be conversations. Surely.
Yeah, I think. Have you heard Tino's conversation on? I think it was the buy round.
No, what do you say?
His dad actually said to him, "I think you should play for Australia because Australia." Like, you should love Australia. Like, pretty much what you just said. You should love Australia because it gave this family so much opportunity.
And that's another thing to make sure to important. Just because someone has Samoan heritage or Tongan heritage or whatever doesn't mean they automatically will love Samoa or Tonga more than the Australian jersey. That's you know what I'm.
Exactly.
That it's a choice. And Tino's father who said. Yeah, every every family is different. So it doesn't just automatically mean, you've got Samoan heritage, or that means you definitely want to play for Samoa more. That's not the case at all. Everyone's different. Everyone has different upbringings and things that are important to them. I just want every player playing for the country that that they want to play for the most. That's
I agree.
it.
No
Period.
stigma or judgment either way. Just make the decision.
Make the decision and play for the one that you want to play for.
Yeah.
And you could be the best player in the world playing for Australia right now, but if your heart is with another country, go for it. I wouldn't be cut one bit. I'd be stoked for you. Matter of fact, I'd be more happy for you because at least you're playing where your heart is. And that, I mean, as an Australian, hearing that though, like Tino's father saying that, does make you quite proud.
That made me proud when I heard that.
Proud as an Australian
Bloody
that
oath.
he would say, this country gave you so much. And you know what? It takes strength from Tino to say something like that because it wouldn't be an easy thing to say. So anyway, I tell you what though, we might get Tino versus Payne-Haas in international footy then. Ooh. Could you imagine? Holy.
I'll never forget. I reckon I bring this up every month, but that shot of Tino and Payne-Haas when they played for Australia together, coming onto the bench, from the bench, sorry.
Hectic. One of the greatest shots all.
You got to think it'd be a pretty wild moment. Let's just say, let's talk hypotheticals, right? Tino is maybe the only one in that setting or context that doesn't transition, and then that's Samoa Australia. Like you can't tell me there's not some heat.
There's fireworks there, baby. There's another photo that it probably won't go down as iconic, but for me it is when they nearly got on a punch on in Origin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because they didn't end up fighting, it all kind of simmered down. But for me, of this generation, to see those boys pushing and shoving like that is just like, wow.
And then
like,
Payne getting sin bin and his shirt was ripped.
shirt's all ripped. Like, bro.
They're like the couple of guys that are still in that like larger than life status in rugby league these days.
Tino and Haas, like, bro, could you imagine those guys playing like 30, 40 years ago? Holy shit. I'm so stoked. I'm stoked for Samoa. I'm stoked for the international game. I cannot wait for the Pacific Championship.
I'm stoked for myself as a consumer because it just makes it better.
Makes
it
everything
does.
better for
Way
everyone. All right, Corey Oates retires. 216 games for the Broncos. 121 tries, 9 orange for Queensland. Big Oates McGoats. What a career, man. He is just, obviously, he got his body was just struggling with injury the last year or so. But I remember Oatesy when he first came to the Broncos, and he was so young. Like he just the intensity of the training, he really hit him hard, and it's just so good to see that he had the mental strength to just push through it, and come out the other side and do what he did and end up playing. I think he's got the most tries at Suncorp, played for Queensland.
Great career.
I think third most tries ever for Brisbane.
Like I'll be honest, like seeing him come in initially. Guys that
As a second rower, yeah?
Nah. He was just
wasn't he?
He was just a big young kid. Like he might have been a second rower, but he was just more seen as this like really big young athletic kid. And seeing how many people that bounce off hard preseasons like that, I've got to admit, like I thought maybe I didn't think he would be able to get through it, but fuck, kudos to him that he did. He pushed through that first preseason. And he hasn't looked back ever since. Like, so good.
Great career.
Corey Oates had this ability to tear up the Rabbitohs. I don't know what it was. So I just looked it up then just to see if it was confirmed. He's 14 games, 14 tries against South. And he doesn't have that record against anyone. It's the most tries he scored against any team. There was a period where he just scored 2-2. He just tear us apart. Yeah, he was great.
And
hell fast too.
Yeah, big athletic fella and great bloke. Really nice bloke. And what a career. 216 games for the Brisbane Broncos, 121 tries. I mean, his name is next to some of the greatest players of all time, literally, in the game. And he's right up there. Incredible career, great bloke.
In an age now where being a one-club player is becoming less and less common, especially doing it at the Broncos, it's pretty sick.
At the Broncos, who always have, even though they're not going well right now, talent is never an issue.
Exactly.
Especially in that position.
Yeah, mate, 100%. So, love Big Oates McGoats. Congratulations on an incredible career. Alrighty, boys, a bit of an algo check. What's the algo looking like?
Tell what mine is. It's extremely weird because I don't game at all. But I've been watching. Obviously, there's a huge like YouTube community, as you always talk about, of like just watching. I've been watching like all this Call of Duty gameplay for some reason. I don't know why. I don't even play. Someone sent me like it was a funny video, but then that's led to, and I don't know. I just can't stop watching it. It's all in my Reels tab now.
Well, you see how they play. They do that content where there's just a constant game playing, and then there's a video on the top, and you just get sucked in. It's actually a tactic.
You can't stop watching.
Constant game playing, streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
funny.
don't know what it's called. They're going around this like world thing.
Oh, it's a Warzone.
I don't know.
So it'd be Call of Duty, and they're like jumping. Like, are they like hang gliding and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Not
but
hang
then
gliding,
there's other
parachuting.
clips where they're just jumping around this like.
Oh no, I see
know
what
what
you
I'm talking
mean.
about?
Yeah, yeah. So like they're just sliding through this world.
Yeah.
And they're getting momentum and
and you
flicking a
just start
knife.
Watching it, what's the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, yeah. And they just add voiceover to a clip that
Yes.
they're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Man,
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that's not what I meant, but I have seen those. Yeah.
he's talking about Call of Duty
Yeah,
Warzone.
I know.
Yeah.
Mate, I've been started playing Diablo 4 yesterday, and I needed a new monitor for my work setup. So I got a new monitor, and my God, it's glorious, boys. It's glorious. So Diablo 4 is my go-to at the moment. I'm still playing a bit of WoW, which I'm really enjoying, but Diablo 4 just come out, so my algo is all Diablo 4. It's all Diablo 4. Guides for your build, and your build is basically like what spells you choose, and there's deep guides so that you obviously have the strongest build. Now I don't watch the actual guides because I like to play just naturally through it, just to enjoy it in a chill kind of way. But yeah, Diablo 4 expansion, Vessel of Hatred just came out, and I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it.
I feel like my Instagram's a Brazilian steakhouse at the moment. I've just
Really?
become the meat god. And it's just nonstop. The other thing I've got this for you because I know you love the TV shows. I've been watching that doco on the Mendes brothers. Have you seen that?
Are you watching Netflix?
So I'm watching the Netflix one first, and then I'm
What
going to watch
episode are
the
you
real
up to?
Decker. I'm on episode 5.
Are you up to the one where there's just that one shot yet or not?
What do you mean one shot?
As in he's just getting interviewed by his lawyer, and it's just 35 minutes of him talking.
Yes, I've seen that. That's heavy, bro. So okay, I'm on the fence still, whether it's true or not.
I don't know either.
My missus is completely convinced.
I don't know either, and I've told my missus not to say anything.
Have you watched further than that?
No. Oh yeah, I watched a couple.
Yeah,
I'm near the end.
It gets a bit weird with old Jose as well.
It gets really weird.
So now, obviously, I'm looking forward to watching the real version. Now you got Kim Kardashian. Now she likes to mix it up and become a lawyer every now and again. Now she's backing them, saying they should be out of jail. So I just need to keep catching up. But mate, wild story. If you haven't watched this, definitely get on board.
It's so scat. Like it takes the biggest left turn ever, and you're just going, this is disgusting. It is
wild.
disgusting. I don't know what to believe. I seriously. Honestly, at the moment, it just feels like they're both painted as just everyone's a piece of shit. Everyone's.
Will you watch the real one after?
Nah. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I want to move on to other stuff. Like I want to watch the wrestling Vince McMahon doco.
Oh,
I
mate.
finished that.
Have you?
Good. I can't wait to watch
So
that.
I'm trying to. I want
would
to get
be
to that.
dope.
You've watched it? Have you?
I've watched it. Yeah, it's
Is
very
there one
interesting.
thing or episodes?
It's 4 1-hour episodes or 4 like 50-minute episodes.
Is it good?
I love wrestling, right? I am obsessed with it. Well, I'm not at the moment.
I
but
used to be obsessed, bro.
Yeah, I used to be obsessed with it. So I really, really, really loved it. But I think they leave a lot of stuff out.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
There's no way he's not emptying his dirty laundry yet.
Well, what's crazy is he released a statement saying that they'd painted him in the wrong
So
light.
basically, the first set of interviews were done 2 years ago, and Netflix have used them all. So, and then obviously he didn't come back for the second interview.
Oh, okay.
So they have painted him pretty poorly, but
Yeah.
I feel like they've still left a lot out.
So do they actually? You know what? Like I'm assuming. Here's what I'm assuming. They've painted him as like a bad businessman, a bad boss, but none of that other crazy shit.
A great businessman, a bad
boss.
ferocious boss,
Yep.
who's done some scat shit. But I reckon they're just scratching the surface.
would've
Well,
been a
I mean,
madman.
they are scratching the surface.
He would have been a madman. And then the fact that he made himself a superstar wrestler as well is a wild
Yeah,
concept.
it's so wild. I tell you what, like
That's never
Man.
happened and will never happen again.
I never get when you've earned that much money. Why do you keep doing it?
That's what I couldn't stop thinking that the whole time.
Like, I just get out, man. Like when these people that make themselves super rich, I'm just like, why?
Like, in what world would that... So, like, Donald Trump, his family's all involved. They're kind of in the politics. But at one point, Vince McMahon's full family is in the ring getting stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
They're
just
like the
don't get it.
billionaire owner of WWE.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, surely it's not worth missing time with your family, traveling, just chilling. I'm not saying don't work. The way I see it is like, earn enough money so you can retire, but then do what you love at a cruisy pace.
There's a tipping point, yeah.
But these guys that like stay CEOs forever,
Can't let go.
It's just like,
Well, he said in the doco he will never, and obviously that's changed now, but he said in 2021 or whatever it was, he will die before he retires.
Wow.
it's just like there's got to be more to life, surely.
Yeah.
Surely.
I tell you what, but the first 2 episodes, if you like, are really good from a business like perspective. Really interesting how he just did it all and the risks he took and how ruthless it is. So that part's hectic.
Yeah.
Gets a bit weird, but gets a bit
Gets a bit weird. Oh, that's great. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And any PT or run clubs or events that are happening on the weekend, give us an email, matt@blokeinabar.com. And hopefully we can put some Grumpy Coffee on for you. Thank you to everyone that's ordered Grumpy Coffee. We really appreciate it. Any dramas, please go to our website, go to contact us. Let us know your dramas. We'll sort it ASAP. And if you want to order some more, make sure to order some more beautiful Grumpy Coffee. Make sure to give Sandor a follow. How's the meat?
Yeah, brother, we dropped the full protocol next week on Wednesday. So the Animal Edge Performance Protocol. So we've had a heap of downloads. So thank you so much for everyone who got around our free guide.
And you can still download it?
Yeah, can still download it.
Is it in your bio?
Yeah, my bio and the Animal Fuel page bio.
Okay.
Next one, it's a full nutrition plan, full training program. My training program, actually, strength and conditioning, and a heap of education. So check it out. If you're interested, if you want to get started or you're already in the space, definitely check it out.
And you'd normally have to pay someone a fair bit of cash to get a program like that.
Oh, the value in this program is insane.
Okay. So go to Sandor's link in bio, download the what would you call it?
It's called the Get Yoked Guide.
The Get Yoked Guide.
That's a great name.
Great name. Great name. And as usual, we'll go and fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.